All right, welcome in. We got a good show today. Team May will join us in about 5-6 minutes. I'm just trying to set something up real quick, so just give me a moment. I'll pop right back on in 1 minute, and we'll get going here. All right, sorry about that. All right, I'm back. Sorry, you guys. Just trying to deal with something real quick. Just sent the link over to Trevor, so he'll get that in a few minutes. But in the meantime, we can get started here. Something's weird with my chat too. I can see all your messages. I had been putting them on screen. I don't know what's going on. I was using this overlay thing. It was working great the other night, and now it's all confusing. Let's see here. See if I can figure this out while we're here. I got a minute anyway. What do you do? What did I do differently here? Maybe I need to fix this part. Hold on. There's so many windows open on my computer. It's insane. All right, docs, custom browser docs. Let's see if this works. See if that does anything. If not, we'll just get started. That's no big deal. I'll just put the regular chat in here and we won't have anything pop up on the screen for now, but I'll fix it for the next stream. Yeah, that did not work at all. All right, let's just do it this way then. All right, at least now we have the YouTube thing going on here. All right, here we go. Welcome in to Baseball and Coffee. I'm about to send this email over to Trev, and then he'll probably pop in here in a minute. We'll get going with the program. So, sorry, putting you on the loading screen again for one more second. Sorry. All right, we're back. We're good now. All good. So It's not my wife's fault. She's saying sorry. Don't beat up on her. It's not her fault at all. I should have done some of this last night, but I'll be honest, I was exhausted. So it took me a little while. All right. Hope you guys watched a lot of baseball last night. I didn't catch the end of the Mariners game, but I certainly watched all of the Yankees-Blue Jays game. Not that there was a whole lot to watch. Yankees made it semi-interesting at the very end, obviously, scoring a few runs there. But, you know, the real story in this game was twofold. It was Yesavage, obviously, who I made a video on. I hope some of you guys check that out. And then, you know, the Blue Jay offense tearing into Max Fried pretty good. He only ends up going 3 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 home run, 51 pitches. That comes off of, you know, the outing where everybody was clamoring for him to stay in an extra inning versus the Red Sox. So that's kind of the main two storylines from yesterday's game. The Blue Jays offense has been relentless, led by Vlad. Definitely considering doing a little bit of a video on Vlad. Just because his offense has been unbelievable and he hates the Yankees. And so it's kind of interesting to see him back it up a little bit with some really good offensive play in this series so far. All right, I'm going to hop in the chat, and I don't want to talk too much about it until he gets in here. So I'm going to hop in the chat for a second, and we'll just see what we got going on. We got, obviously, my wife's holding down the chat pretty good right now upstairs. Yeah, this is going to be basically 1 hour of bullpen banter, UNO and 007. That's pretty much what you're getting here. 2 bullpen guys, and that's about it. So it's going to be very fascinating. Johnny Ellis, where can we get the hat? The hat will be up on the site pretty soon. There's a green color and a blue color, which I'm wearing today. And you'll be able to buy those off of the YouTube store and not terribly too long. So that's pretty exciting. I'm just trying to work on that. As a Mets fan, it was a joy watching Vladdy pimp that nuke. He's been unbelievable. What did he end up with yesterday? 3 for 5. So now in the series, 667 with a 1933 OPS. I know that's pretty funny, but damn. And Varsho 4 hits, Clement 3 hits, a guy known for his defense. Springer 2 hits. The offense really laid the smack down. You know, it's actually interesting. The Yankees end up with 10 hits in this game when they had 0 in the first 5 and a third off Yesavage. So it just goes to show you a little bit. Familiarity is a big deal in our sport, especially when you're facing, you know, a guy for the first time in a playoff game and you don't really have enough time to kind of compute it. Oh, teammates here. All right, let's pop them in. Hey, can you hear me over there? I need you to unmute, I think. This happened the other day with Lucas. I think you're on mute somewhere. We'll wait for me to hear you first. Still don't hear anything. There you go. Got you. Got you. All right, I'm going to bring you in. Just give me a sec here. All right. Well, we'll start it on the main screen. Copy the link. And then we're going to go ahead and paste that in there. And then we should have magic here in a matter of seconds. That's odd. Did I do that wrong? There we go. All right, welcome in.
What up?
What is happening? I know it's crack of dawn out there, Pacific Northwest, but I appreciate you hanging with us today.
Yeah, of course, man. A lot happened in these first 2 games.
Yeah, I was actually, dude, I didn't get to watch the end of the game last night, but the 2 solo homers off Skubal, a little bit of a defensive miscue, then they end up running it back, and getting that big win for Seattle, which I was a little worried for them headed into last night's game because they had Scooble matchup, and we all know Detroit has to win those games. So it was kind of backwards losing that first one.
Yeah, it needed to happen. The feeling was mutual over here in Seattle for sure. Like they're like, dude, that's the game we were supposed to win, man. The rookie on the mound, but like, I mean, if Mariners go deep, it's going to be a whole bunch of 3-2 wins. Like it's just the way they play. So, but honestly, one big thing that we have not seen even in the Julio and Cal Raleigh era until about halfway through this season was like Cal hits a double, then Julio hits a double, and that's how they score a run. Like usually it was just one of them's hot, the other one is ice cold, and now they're both hitting. And they've been Cal's got 5-6 hits in the first 2 games, and Julio's got 5 or 6 as well. Like those are the guys you need to do it, and at least those guys are doing it. So if anyone else gets going a little bit, I think they have an offensive kind of explosion in them.
All right, so maybe we should do that game first. Let me head over. I'm gonna switch us over here to the game itself, and we'll get into it a little bit. All right, so Seattle and the Detroit Tigers. Scooble, Finnegan, Herder, and for the Mariners, they went Castillo, Spire, Bizardo, Brash, Munoz. And Spire's been a big piece for them. They're all just trying to get to Brash and Munoz as much as possible because that's the type of game that they're playing. Those are their best 2 relievers. But Castillo was huge yesterday because they needed somebody to go toe-to-toe with Scooble if they were going to get to this point in the game and not let Detroit, deploy their guys. And in a way, it was going to be interesting to see how they would play ahead yesterday if Detroit did get ahead, since Vest has been used so much, and that's the main guy AJ's been trusting. But that's not the way it played out. They were able to run out ahead in the lead in this game, and then kind of get it to that late game situation where 1 run wins it, and they were able to pull it out 3-2. So let me just pull up the box score from that game real quick. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, Castillo, 4 2/3, 1 hit, 4 walks. So an interesting nibble session, I guess, a little bit there.
It's weird. Well, that's not weird, but like you can be like not give up your first hit until I don't think you give up a hit till the 5th either. So you can be good like that, but if you're walking guys, you're always they're always on the top step in the playoff series, and that I think that's what it happened. Like him and then Brash had the same problem. Like they walked at what 7 in the game.
Yeah,
like,
they walked
that's
7.
not like them. So
it's interesting. I heard Walker Buehler one time on a podcast talking about how he felt like walks are so huge for rallies in the regular season, but they're not as much momentum builders in the postseason. Maybe at times, like you can afford to kind of pitch around a little bit, and especially if you're holding down the other team offensively with the bat, there's a little bit of a thought of like, well, we still haven't gotten a hit off this guy. Like, yeah, we're walking, but it's not necessarily the same level of momentum swing as it might feel in the regular season, like a leadoff walk or something like that. But I don't know. I always felt like it was suicide to walk somebody.
I mean, yeah, we like that. That is our brain. Everyone's brain's going crazy, right? Here's a question I actually had for you. Like, do you think, and I have my theory, but like the adrenaline in the playoffs can be tightness, right? It's hard to like, it's harder than it is regular season to like just relax yourself, and that's pitchers and hitters. I feel like that's a bigger disadvantage to a hitter.
I agree because you get more jumpy.
You get more jumpy.
Yeah, I think the chase rate goes up in the playoffs, generally speaking, especially early, because you just want to do something. I think the hitters just want to be the heroes so bad, Yeah,
I mean, and it's like it's hard enough to hit. So like pitchers, we can just like brute force our way through tightness, right? You can just throw as hard as you can, or whatever. Like you can get around it a little bit more. I feel like, or loosen yourself up a little bit more. And I also feel like in that same side of things, like the speed, like when a guy gets going in a rhythm, the clock. I feel like if tension builds, that's more even. That it's harder as a pitcher to sit there and like wait to throw a pitch, or if you're a guy who works really slow, like the tension that's building the whole game. It's hard. Like you can make more mistakes. It can get to you more if it's taking longer, but if it's going faster, that's benefit. Like get it over with for a pitcher. But hitters, if they get sped up, like they're screwed. I feel like that's also more of an advantage, and that's why we're seeing. I mean, we've seen a couple absolute blowouts, but especially in the first round, every game was 2-1, 1-1, until like the 7th, because it's just like pitchers just have more of an advantage in the playoffs right now than the hitters do, or at least that's my vibe.
I mean, I would say in general with the pitch with the pitch clock, the way that I looked at it was like it's sort of a hitting clock with nobody on. Like if I can stay in rhythm on the mound, all that's doing is speeding up the hitter really, really bad. The way and when the clock would affect me was when the innings got long, and in a lot of these games where the starters have come out looking really good, the onus is on the hitters now to get in the box early and get set up and kind of wait for you, and the pitcher can dictate the timing more. And I agree, it kind of speeds them up a little bit, and you see more levels of chase. This was actually a huge punch out in this game. I want to watch this whole at bat. This is Colt Keith. No, Parker Meadows, actually.
Parker Meadows, yeah.
Yeah, second and third here. So this is an early 2-out opportunity here. Castillo with that low slot going uphill with the fastball to start off the at-bat. And I thought that was going to have to play. You know, Detroit features a lot of lefties with scoopy swings. So Castillo, they definitely peppered a lot towards the top of the zone. You can see the strategy here. It's not very complicated. I don't think that your bat path can cover a fastball up. And I'm going to keep going with it.
Yeah, that's simple. Like, and you know, if we get a chance to quickly touch on the first game at any point, too,
yeah, we will.
I have some comments on Kirby, and there's something that irks me about watching George Kirby pitch sometimes. And conversely, he does similar things like you, Darvish.
This is
where you're just like,
pitch.
I throw 7 pitches, so I have to throw them all, and he just he messes around too much sometimes, and then makes dumb decisions because he likes the idea of it working. But I'm like Tarek Skubal doesn't do that. He just is like, this is going to be the best thing.
Yeah, right? He just rams it down their throat and says, you can't hit it. Here it is.
And watching guys with that type of stuff mess around, I don't know. You played with Seth Lugo. Like sometimes he's like, I'm throwing my slider. Like, why, Seth? Just throw your curveball more. Like, just against this team, just spin this team with this. You can throw your slider next outing. Just throw it curveball. He's like, no, I have to get my quota. Like, that was just the way that he pitched. And of course, now it's working really well as a starter. But that's what Louis Castillo does the opposite of Kirby. He's like, I throw. Oh, fastball. You told me that fastball is good against this guy. Okay, well, I'll throw every single pitch of fastball then. I'm just not going to mess around. That's the best pitch against him. I'm going to throw that pitch.
Yeah, I remember 2021 headed into the playoffs, the year I was with the Red Sox. I actually wrote down, like, on my hat, like, throw the slider, because I was getting in that mode where I was, like, trying to trick fuck everybody all the time. And at some point I was like, don't forget, like, this is your pitch. Throw your damn pitch and then go off of that. But I wanted to point this out real quick because this is kind of a little bit how Kirby got clipped the other night with a sinker up in the zone. It was above the zone, actually, to Carpenter. Yeah. And typically you don't want to throw sinkers above the zone when you have a ride four-seam. So early in this at-bat, Castillo's four-seam, throws one slider to get him off the scent. And then here they try a front door sinker, but this was a super dangerous pitch. And he's very lucky that this didn't end up in bad contact, because this doesn't get to the top of the zone. It's kind of like medium height, and it's a sinker. It's only 2 vert. And really, he's shown his preferences to get over the barrel here with a four-seam pitch type. So this was a big mistake that he kind of gets away with. And then he's allowed to fix the mistake, go back to the four-seam, get it up in the zone. This one has 10 more inches of induced vertical break. And you see the result. He's just way under it. So almost a lapse in judgment there by Raleigh and Castillo, but they were able to get away with it and fix it on the very next pitch.
Yeah, they love the front door sinker too. And what's interesting to me too, for throwing that so much to the Tigers, dude, they don't get frozen there. They're all gonna swing at it. Kerry Carpenter, even, he got one called against him, right? The first one, which was a little bit in. Then the next pitch was better than the other one, called a ball, so it was a correction. And he's thrown 2 in a row. And I'm like, okay, stop trying to throw up and in sinkers to Kerry Carpenter. You already got your
I'll actually
swing, and that's going to go down.
Yeah, I'll
pull it up.
I'm going to go back to that real quick because it's so true. He
see the difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's so true what you're saying. From this at bat in game 1. Let me just find this real quick. Is this the game?
Oh, yeah. Just to say, because this is a sinker, you mentioned it while you're looking it up. Like and I know that you also made a lot of decisions in this way too. Some guys, there's some hitters like that just have a pitch type that they hit way better than all of it. Like, it's not close. It's like it's pitched like, if you throw that pitch and you're a starter and you have 6 different pitches, maybe we just bang that one, for the day to
Yeah.
that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's okay
Yeah.
because you have 5
Yeah.
other options.
Yeah.
And sinkers to Kerry Carpenter is that pitch.
Yes. His swing is geared for it. 100%.
Yeah, geared for it. And earlier he gives up a single to Riley Green on a curveball 0-1 to Riley Green. I'm like, Riley Green hits curveballs twice as good as he hits any other pitch because he's got the scoopiest swing on the planet. You just never need to throw it. Definitely don't try to get a strike. It's the same thing. So,
all right. So even that, like a gyro slider, first pitch, Kerry Carpenter, middle down, probably a bad idea, but he gets the foul ball. And then off of that swing,
Kerry's like, damn it.
Off of that,
that was a bad idea and I should have crushed it.
They go to this 3 in a row. And to be fair, this first one's not a strike. They get it called a strike, but it's not a strike, and it's kind of as good of a pitch as you can throw. You're probably not going to throw a better one after that. So sometimes as a pitcher, you have to realize, like, I can't throw a better pitch than that. I should probably go to something else or maybe play with his ability to swing at a bad pitch. But they decided to stick with it. And it's interesting because I've talked a little bit on the show here about how I actually do like a high target most of the time on the comeback sinker, mainly because it helps a pitcher execute and not yank the ball in the dirt.
Yeah.
But on this 0-2 one, I actually don't like the target. He's way above the zone, but like in the zone. Like you can kind of see he's still in the zone here. And therefore, he was more likely if he missed to leak the ball over the middle here. Oh. It's not what happens here, but Carpenter gets a second look at the same shape back to back, even though this ball's pulled in. And then there's really no reason if you're going to try to beat him up top to throw a third one. You might as well throw a four seam here. It's only 6.2 inches of induced vertical break, so it doesn't have that same carry effect at the top of the zone. He's just seen the shape 3 times. You have him sped up on a pitch up and in already. All the formula, all the ingredients are here for this type of swing.
And also, you're not that you threw a sinker. I didn't. That's a freeze. You're trying to freeze him on a third time in a row. What are you trying to get a swing and miss or a ground ball? Why with a guy on second base? You want a strikeout. You have 2 strikes. Going for a strikeout. That is like a very low chance of being swung and missed at, and you just throw it twice, so he's not going to freeze. So like, what's the outcome?
Yeah, I mean,
get here.
Typically, when I was
taking that chance for what outcome is what I'm saying.
Right, like typically when I would throw this pitch, the goal is to freeze it perfectly on the corner, and then sometimes you do run into the happy accident where you run it like way over here, and you get the swing through. Yeah. But this is the downside because now it's above the zone and it's hittable, but it's not a 4-seam, so it doesn't have the carry to get over the scoopy swing, and it kind of plays right into the barrel. So in my mind, yeah, you can say it's a great swing by Carpenter, and it is, but he also kind of walked right into it here.
And then he was his reaction, like the when he hit it, and then they showed his face on every pitch he threw too. It's almost like I know what I know what the you're trying to do currently, and that's gonna. If you make a mistake, I'm gonna get it. And then he got it and he reacted. It's like after the fact. Obviously, we don't see this stuff, right? We don't have the cameras in our face, but if we could, there's so many times in my career too where I'm like, oh, he very clearly knew I was trying to do it, and then I tried to do it again.
There's a lot of stuff like that you can only see if you're super locked in and like perfectly confident in what you're doing, as otherwise you're too wrapped up in what you're doing to see the cues that the hitter's giving you. This is something that when I was at my best, I could see stuff. I could see guys like with their practice swing, or that they're telling themselves don't dive, or whatever little cue they're giving me that gives me an insight of how they're thinking. But it's really hard to see it when you're wrapped up in, oh, I have to throw a strike. Is my pitch right? What to throw? Yada, yada. So I think that's kind of what happens here. And anyway, I just want to circle back to this because this is an example of how the 4-seam plays. And I think if Kirby did the same thing that Castillo does here, he probably gets the swing through on Carpenter. So perhaps they learn their lesson and they continue to pitch a little smarter from here on out. But it is fascinating that you can get a little addicted to the comeback sinker, and that can kind of undo you at times.
Actually, this all makes sense because in the All-Star break, he made the All-Star game 2023, and I got to interview him. And one of the questions I asked him and Gallen said the same thing. I was like, would you rather blow someone's doors off or paint? And he's like, oh, paint. Like paint looking frozen. So I'm like, well, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. The guy throws the guy that can throw 100 miles an hour is still thinking about like, how can I just absolutely paint this on the outside? Which, I mean, I think it serves him a lot more than it does it. But sometimes you get a little bit cute when you don't need to, because you can literally just be like, there's a 50% chance you're swing and miss at a pitch sometimes with other stuff he throws.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'll speak to that a little bit. It is a little addicting because it feels so good when you plan it ahead. You're like, oh, I'm going to start this pitch off the corner. It's going to come back. He's going to take it and have to walk back to the dugout. And then you execute it, and it feels so good that you want to do it again and again and again. But I always harken back to a perspective that was given to me by Dave Duncan, the old pitching coach with the Cardinals. And that's a very simple truism in baseball as a pitcher. Whereas if you're in an 0-2 or a 1-2 count, give the hitter a chance to swing at a bad pitch, to swing at an unhittable pitch, and just miss. Give him a chance. He might not be able to help himself.
Yeah, let it. We always say, just like let them make the mistake. Baseball's so much of put someone else in the position to make a mistake, and I think hitters also think that as well. For the see a bunch of pitches. Miggy Cabrera, I use him as my example all the time. He loved spoiling a pitch that you may or may not have beat him on in an ugly way, because he's like, I have another one, man, and now you're still afraid of me. The chances that I'm Miggy Cabrera, look at me. He bought into his own thing and then put himself in a position to think about that longer and longer and longer, and then eventually you made a lot of mistakes to him, and he just raked and you had to be okay with doing that. And that was people say that's like old school. It's not old school. Juan Soto does it all the time. Yeah. He just will foul a ball into their dugout and then look at you like, what now?
Yeah, what else you got?
Kind of what else you got? So you try to do the same thing to a hitter, right? And if that's the next level. I think that's when we see guys. You watch Scuba walk around when he's like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Christopher Sanchez is starting to do this a lot too, where he's like, I know what I want, and then he nods when it goes well. That is when a guy is going to be if you see someone doing that for many outings in a row or starts in a row, they're probably going to be there for the Cy Young at the end, because they figure something out and they're locked in on that plan as they go.
Yeah, 100%. They're locked in, and they know now the why it's working, and they can just keep checking that box every single time with execution.
Must be nice.
I know. All right, let's go over to Scooble on this side of the things, because he was awesome. I can watch some of his strikeouts here. They're all going to be the typical variety changeups in the dirt for the most part. No righty seems to be able to resist this pitch. It's impossible when he rushes you in with fastballs, and then it's 100 miles an hour, so you have to get started, and then this pitch just doesn't get there. Here's that said up and in 100-mile-an-hour pitch.
Perfect tunnel. Those two things are tunneling perfectly, and then he'll also throw the sinker and the four seam there to righties.
Yeah,
and that's another thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit on the thing. So the four seam is headed in on you because it has extreme perceived cut to it. The sinker. Yeah. Looks like it's heading into you because of this angle that he throws from, but then it just kind of stays on the corner. So it's really hard to make a swing decision there. And then on top of that, the changeup that comes out of this same tunnel, it just kind of starts here and then it just kind of peters out. So it's like all three are really hard swing decisions to make in a millisecond. And that's kind of the trick that he's playing, and good luck to any hitter because his execution rate is stupidly high on this.
Yeah, then he walks nobody. So it's like you can't even count on that. Yeah, at least with let's just see, at least with Randy Johnson, you could count on him getting erratic for a while. This guy does not get erratic ever. He's got I don't know if you remember, but Phil Hughes command, bro. He's walking 15 a year.
Yeah, one walking out start or less
at 100.
Yeah. Here's the slider, which he doesn't even really need too often. It's crazy. Let's watch.
Then he just wrinkles that in sometimes.
And here's another. This is an accidental freeze.
Pino's going through it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough matchup. All right, here's another one of the changeups. I kind of want to watch how Polanco did it, because Polanco clips him twice. So I'm going to watch a few more of these strikeouts, and then I will switch to see what Polanco was able to do, because, man, 1 home run off Scooble's enough. Two is like a career freaking day.
Do you know what else he has in his delivery? And someone made a great point about Canely and how he can throw 85% changeups. They have deliveries built to throw changeups. They jump. He's got this little jump.
Oh,
Canely's
100%.
built for that. So no matter what, you can be he's throwing a changeup no matter what. His delivery looks like he's throwing as hard as he can.
Yeah, I would consider it like a rock and roll type of deal. When he comes down, there's a lot of conviction and aggression in the first move.
Like the jump, almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sale early in his career used to actually tip his changeup by doing that.
Oh, really?
Torrey Hunter had it on him, and we raked him for a year before he figured it out.
See that? And the tipping, it's more prevalent than ever. Yeah, Suarez was just overmatched. All right, let's watch Polanco. Let's watch the full at-bats of the 2 home runs, because I'm curious what we can learn from that. All right, so fastball away ball.
3 hours back to the tryout. He's exhausted. He throws 84.
Changeup away ball. So I guess the first key is getting yourself in a nice hitter's count, even though this pitch is damn close on the bottom, huh?
That's a big deal for Polanco. He loves swinging at that pitch. He loves it. So that was a good approach.
2-0 slider. This actually reminds me of the bad pitch calling that I spotted the other day in the Phillies-Dodgers game. Sanchez decides to throw a slider for some reason that started that whole rally to Kike. The one pitch that a dead pull hitter can pull that's coming into him when you need to throw it for a strike didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And, you know, Polanco's dead pull as well for his power. This is kind of a weird 2-0 pitch for me. I get you're trying to go off the menu. You're trying to be surprising here. But again, when we get cute, this seems to be a theme so far today. We get cute. Sometimes you run into some big contact. So a little slider middle. No bueno.
He just sometimes you got to find a way to throw that wrinkle in there, and like you're just wrong.
Yeah, and it's funny because you know, I've given up some homers to some hitters where I've been like, damn, like, were you looking for that pitch? And they're like, I was praying for that pitch because I couldn't hit the other one. And it's like, oh snap, I should have just kept throwing. I thought you were onto that. I should have just stayed with it, you know? Damn, this is a horrible call, right? Is this way in?
There's a strike, and it's 1-2.
Sheesh.
Hey, the reception there though was pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. Is this Dingler? Dingler is one of the best catchers in the game this year.
Dude, he could be swing it too a little bit. He could be a stud.
2-2.
Yeah, early in the year I was looking at catcher leaderboards. You know, all the throwing, the framing, and he was up there on quite a few of them. So I was like, oh man, I've never really even noticed this guy.
2-2.
See that right there too. Scooble is that's swung and missed every time. Right now he's like that. My number one weapon. He's just not going for it.
Yeah, and then he just throws a ball middle.
Didn't get it in there.
Didn't get it in. Again, though, he's trying to throw a strike here on the comeback sinker. I mean, it's hard to quibble. He's the best pitcher in the world. He's certainly a lot better than I ever was. It's just one of those things where it's like, this pitch is hittable, whereas I think the four-seam gets in on the hands a little more. I don't know.
It was 3-2. I think also Polo actually is pretty susceptible to coming back up and in. Like, he does not like it close to him there. So maybe he saw it and then just missed the spot. Yeah. But I think that the big thing right there is he threw him 3 good changeups in both at bats, and they were all close, and they moved basically through the changeups that he's like, if I'm gonna miss a little bit, this is how I'm gonna miss, and got nothing the whole time. So like maybe there's just one hitter he didn't have much confidence in the pitch that he just lost. Maybe he switched off of his best pitch a little bit too early, but like that's just a hindsight thing. Like I can't say that anyone else would do anything differently. That's just baseball.
Yeah, it's a hindsight thing. It's more something to learn from if they match up again, more so than, you know, something that I would tell them, oh, you shouldn't have done that in the moment, because let's be honest, not many people are hitting that pitch, 99-mile-an-hour comebacker anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to fast forward a little bit to the rally where they did get the run here, and like you alluded to it before, they finally got their 2 big dogs to go back-to-back doubles here. They're facing Kyle Finnegan, a guy we've seen a lot, was a closer for the Nationals, the NL East, the years we were with the Mets. Finnegan's got good stuff. It's a splitter. It's a really hard fastball, but there's a lot of contact in his game, not a lot of swing and miss. So I was curious how that would play itself out now that he's probably the number 2 most trusted guy. And this is interesting. This is a first pitch splitter that Cal gets, and he's able to stay on it. Probably just seeing the ball, hitting the ball here.
I think they're just dead on the splitter too. He hasn't thrown many fastballs at all in the playoffs for a guy who can throw upper 90s. Like, he just hasn't thrown any. And a splitter's not a pitch unless you have Roki Sasaki splitter.
They've really juiced his splitter usage, huh?
Oh yeah, he's been throwing it a ton, and maybe it's from sitting down there with Tommy. I don't know.
This is split. So yeah, so it makes sense. Like, there is a point of diminishing returns. I know Tommy has pressed that. Button, you know, to the max. You know, he got to like 90% changeup. But I think there's a point of diminishing returns for some pitchers. Anyway, Julio, this is a nice job. Stays kind of through this ball.
Yeah, it's like we got July, August, September Julio still.
Yeah.
Which is good television.
Great television. It's amazing. If he could just have a good April, what would his numbers look like at the end of the year?
Bro, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna solve this problem. We're gonna solve this. Maybe it's making a long run in the playoffs that like takes that pressure off him the first couple months. I just think he just presses really hard to get going hot at the beginning of the year. It's just that's only one way to explain that why half to half your whole career you have 200 points of difference in OPS. That's insane.
Yeah, that's huge.
Insane.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. I know the weather and stuff, but it's not that much different up there, is it?
No, it's the same here pretty much all year.
Yeah. Munoz came in, shut it down, and they're going to go back to Detroit 1-1. I think this is a really evenly matched series in a lot of ways. I know Seattle has the better starting pitching, but hitting-wise, they're kind of at the same level, in my opinion, to some extent. I think this will be good. It'll be a grindy last couple games, for sure. Let me go look at Finnegan's usage in this game. I'm curious to see... 12 splitters, 6 fastballs in this game. So to your point, they're definitely putting the hammer down on the split and saying that's your swing and miss pitch. This is also probably your weak contact pitch. We're going to spam that. It's just funny to see, and it never gets old, but, you know, this is a guy who averages 96.3 and can hit 100 miles an hour. And now he's just completely pivoting off of the fastball as his primary.
Yeah, splitters just, unless you have one. Josh Kalk, the great Josh Kalk in Minnesota, just it still stands what he told me in 2018. He said, it's very hard. I asked him about my changeup because I threw a straight change at the time. And he's like, it's very hard for me. I'm like, how good is it? Should I keep throwing it? Whatever. And he's like, it's very hard right now for us with changeups. We haven't figured out a good way because it's not a movement pitch. It's a different in velocity type of pitch to tell you definitively. We're very much in horizontal and vertical movement. Like if it moves a lot more and stays on plane a lot more and tunnels well, then that's good. Like we know that. We don't know that for changeups. And splitter, unless you have a splitter that is on its own a movement pitch, like Roki Sasaki might be the only, or like Devin Williams to a point, even though it's slowed down enough now where it's deviating, you can see it a little bit more. But like prime Devin Williams, these are pitches like they're on their own. They're bastard pitches. There's just not a lot of changeup splitter versions of those pitches out there.
Yeah.
That's why sliders are usually the pitch because they move a ton. They're based on movement and velocity, and changeups usually aren't. So that's why it's hard to go up there and just throw one. That's why Tommy Kahnle's so great. It's crazy that. But I feel like he throws like 5 different changeups. Just he throws one that's really slow and one that he just tries to move a lot and one that he tries to throw more straight. Like that's what happens. But
yeah, my one point on changeups and why I think you see so much of them now is it's the one pitch that can't be prepared for, right? Like you're not going to go hit changeups off the machine. You're not going to hit splits off the machine. And that brings me to a good segue to Mr. Trey Yesavage, who absolutely decimated the Yankees last night with the whole approach that's not preparable for, especially if you don't have a traject on the road, which they don't. And so I kind of knew headed into this game, if this guy got ahead in the count, with all the lefties in the lineup, they were going to have a long day. What were your thoughts on watching this game yesterday?
Dude, like, first of all, I thought, like, even if they did have a traject, I don't think the slot goes high enough. He'd be throwing halfway out of the ground. Like, they put half his body into the ground to get his hand on. He, like, throws behind his head, which is interesting. He gives me he's a weird combination of, it's like the way his body mechanics move very similarly to Lugo to me. I don't know, there's a smoothness to it. And then his slot is like Felix Bautista. And I'm like, those two things look, you see the first one and then where the arm eventually goes to, because he's not like super long back here either. He stays short and then goes way up. Like nobody does that. So he has very unique mechanics in that way, but his splitter, honestly, I didn't go look, but my guess is his splitter's made so good because of his slot.
Yeah, like, it's not, all angle. It's not the movement of the pitch. It's like a 6 to 8 induced vertical break, but I think
it just tunnels perfectly.
Yeah, like even on a fastball, like, and we can look at this, even on a fastball, like this is a great example. This is a fastball down, but you see coming out of the hand, the angle on the pitch is straight driving it downward, right?
Yeah, he thinks that's below, but it rides a little bit, right?
It rides 20. Basically.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to get a freeze at that right there every time. And Cody Bellinger's right to not swing at it.
100%.
That's a ball 99% of the time.
And it's a ball here, but it's a good pitch. But you see the downward plane, and that downward plane, that natural downward plane that he's required to have just to throw the ball like over the plate because he's so damn high with the release, that hides the movement in his downward breaking pitches even better. So then when you get a splitter like off of that, it looks the same, except it just doesn't get there. So what are you going to do? How are you going to identify that? And there's actually a quote I read from Judge where he talked about the challenge of it a little bit. I have it in my phone here. He said, it's kind of right over the top, releasing it right above his head, so everything's kind of coming down into the zone, and you've got to pick it up. It's either going to stay in the knees. No, it's either going to stay in the zone or kind of drop down around your knees. And that's the effect. He said it right there. I couldn't say it any better. But all he did all game was make these lefties bend the knee. They're on the fastball because they have no choice to kind of be ready for 95, and then they're swinging below the zone. 58% chase in this game, bro.
Dude, his strike to ball percentage. Not only that, he stayed over the plate, right? Like this is a guy. This is a motion that if he gets like feeling weird throwing it, he's moving in, off, or away. Getting back over the plate is going to be very hard for him. So that's going to be a weird thing to have, because eventually he will have one of those weird days where he can't get over the plate because everything needs to be over the plate and above and below. Then when I always like look at these young guys and be like, okay, so they're nasty now. We did this with McClain a few weeks ago.
Yeah, like what's it look like when they struggle? Yeah.
What's it look like when they struggle, or what's the thing they might need to add at some point, because these two pitches together work great. Tong. There's a reason that Jonah Tong also struck out 60 more guys than he faced in the minors too. They're very similar with the crazy high ride and the thing that goes downwards. He's just got a better splitter. He's got that little slider thing that moves a little bit like a cutter, right? Or it's still depth.
Dude, it has backup movement. It has arm side movement and depth. I'll show you a good one. He strikes out Stanton with one here.
Can you imagine if this guy gets like just a 10-inch sweeper or something?
So that's a big question in my comments today is, do we think he's even capable of throwing anything that really consistently goes left? Because I got to imagine he's very pronated up there. I mean,
yeah,
probably, yeah. But it's super weird that this has positive 7.1 inches of horizontal movement, which is basically like a bad sinker or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's like Moranta's slider.
Yeah, and then it just hits the deck like it. Oh shit!
And then it goes straight down.
Yeah, it literally.
It's like spin inefficiency that makes it drop. But it's spinning probably like it's going to break a little bit. Yeah, like it's so good, it's so bad, it's good.
It's so bad, it's good. Yes, and you know who? Another guy that this reminds me of a little bit, Greg Holland, actually. From back in the day, and because I remember when he came over to the Rockies, we did a lot of talking about sliders. Obviously, I have a much different slider than him, but at the time, I just assumed he had a great slider. He was going to have great spin rate on it. Not the case. He had low spin, and it was kind of this like backup death ball thing. And, you know, essentially it looks really good paired with a fastball, especially if you can hit the bottom of the zone with it. And it's just a funky pitch. You see spin, you anticipate the ball going left, and instead this ball's just going down and a little bit to the right.
What's the run on his four seam?
Oh, it's like 2. It's basically at the 0 line. So, he's throwing a Pete Fairbanks fastball. Less. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
It breaks less than his four seam, guys.
Yeah. It's here's his breakdown from last night, and these are honestly laughable stats. He threw 16 splitters last night and got 11 whiffs, and he threw 6 sliders and got 5 whiffs. He pulled off the really fun trick with his splitter of having them swing at it more out of the zone than in the zone. 64% O-zone swing and 47% in the zone swing.
So they were just fastball or splitter, and they were just wrong. Like
they couldn't figure it out.
It comes down to it. Yeah, couldn't figure it out. But that one thing I will say, like had they faced him yet? They didn't. They weren't one of the guys he pitched to.
No, he threw to the Rays twice and the Royals. And this is another thing that I think was a huge reason why they started him in this game. Obviously, he's nasty, but a big part of it is like they can't prepare for him. They've seen Bieber, they've seen Gosman, they've seen Barrios, they've seen all the other tricks that the Blue Jays have. Actually, probably a lot. This guy's a complete unknown guy. So as long as you know he has the right mentality for it and he's going to be over the plate, you had to feel pretty good about this outing, and that's exactly what they got out of him. And honestly, you could see them trying to talk to each other in the dugout. There was a couple clips of like Grisham and Rice talking, trying to like get their head wrapped around the swing decisions. It's just not enough time. You're only going to see him maybe 2 times through the order. Like I said, there's no trajectory, so you're trying to get like a machine on top of like a plyo box, get the angle to get used to it in the cage. There's nothing that can recreate that, not to mention the shadows and like a human arm and all that. So they were doomed in this game right from the start.
Yeah, and when he walked to the mound, they were down 12-0. So it's like, it doesn't matter if we figure him out at all right at this point. Like this is getting crazy. So yeah, basically just perfect storm. it was ripe situation for him to go out and do what he did. Not to say that he wouldn't have been really good had they seen him before, right? But like for him to strike out 11 Yankees in 5 1/3 innings in a playoff game in which the Yankees needed to win it, like that, I think it was the stars aligning for that specific thing to be able to be happening just by who he is, and he's just a punch out machine. So,
all right, real quick, we got a lot of questions in the chat about Tong versus Yesavage because they both have the high slot, and I've been pointing out that even though they both have the high slot and a similar arsenal in terms of Tong's four-seam Vulcan split changeup and curveball, whereas Yesavage's four-seam split and slider, I think that they're way different pitchers because Tong has more extension. His game is to get way out there and then have his ball kind of play true and flat at the top of the zone. That's more of his game, is the top of the zone fastball game, whereas Yesavage has the short stride to pair with the high release. So it creates the downward plane and creates more of a bottom of the zone issue for the players. So even though they have a similar arsenal in that it's north-south based, the way that their fastballs play is very different. So I'd be careful if I was Tong to try to learn anything from him. I would continue to master what I do and not worry so much about what this guy's doing, even though you both have a high release.
Yeah, I would just keep watching the Lincecum videos, man. Like you jump at people. That Vulcan that is a slower changeup that does have depth, like that is going to be like guys are going to parachute ball them to death and maybe find a curveball that's harder. Like that's because the Savage has the 90-mile-an-hour thing in the middle. Like Tong's just 95 or 78.
Yeah, it's like 95, 85, 75.
Yeah. So
it's a little bit different.
But he does have Tong. Savage is 20. Tong's like
22.
His first outing was like 22. His first outing was like 23-2 or something average. I was like, dude, that's the highest in the league already. It's optimized. That's insane. But he also has the extension, which makes it even weirder because it's weird because he is a high arm slot too.
But here's the thing: the further you travel down the mound, the lower you are relative to the ground, the height ground.
So that'll start to even it out.
Right. His release height is not exceptionally high, even though the arm angle is exceptionally high.
So and then so I don't know how much you've talked about because these aren't public stats, but even like the approach angles.
Mm-hmm.
So like how deception. I've been trying to figure out a way to write. There's like 7 metrics out there that like are deception now, and there's a way to get. People are working on turning it into metrics, but it's like the release height, the X horizontal release, so all the angles you're creating to the plate, and then how the ball is actually approaching the plate. Yes. And that's where Yesavage and Tong are
way off,
polar opposites.
Yeah,
right. And I was an extension guy, so I had 17 inches of ride, but it looked like 20, and it looked like everything threw harder. That's why Edwin Diaz gets away with dead zone 13 forcing fastball.
Yeah, because he's low.
Because he's literally halfway there.
And he's halfway there, and he's low. Yeah. I did the same thing. I had a big extension, low release. I could throw 14s by guys sometimes, Yeah. But so I actually think the angles are almost more important than the IVB. I mean, obviously it's nice if you can create the maximum amount of ball movement as well to pair with your angle, but that's kind of the trick, and that's what I wanted to showcase a little bit and talk about between Yesavage and Tong. Let's watch the 3 at bats Vlad got off of the 2 off Freed and then the grand slam because this guy's freaking locked in and they don't have any answer for him. So let's watch this because he got 3 hits in the first game, I believe, too. All right, first pitch 98 down. So Max was
excited for Blue Jays fans. If this guy's dialed, man, like they've been waiting for this.
98
whole
down,
time.
98 down. So 3 fastballs first at bat. Yeah, they have been waiting for this. Ooh, it's a high chop, Baltimore chop, so kind of a lucky hit here. But I will say one thing I like about Vlad in general as a hitter is he's not just a slugger. He's a hitter first with pop. So he's not going to strike out as much as other guys. Oh, and then the second at bat, it's an ambush. So this time, man on first, 1 out. So he got 3 sinkers the first time. This is the cutter, 97-mile-an-hour cutter. And again, he stays inside it. He's not a guy who's trying to hit a home run every time. I know a lot of Blue Jays fans got a little worried that he had a little bit of a home run drought come the end of the season. But this is a classic inside-out swing here and serves him really well in this spot.
Are we not sure that wasn't just a Freed doing a changeup or a fat four seam and just like getting around? That's what he does. He just turns the ball a little bit and then adjusts his hand and it's like, I throw 5 fastballs. We're like,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch the at-bat. And this obviously ended the game, but this is against Will Warren. Bases chucked. Full statue on the first pitch sweep.
Doesn't feel good.
No. Oof. Just missed his low. It's actually a pretty good pitch out of the hand, huh? But
yeah, we need a Hall of Famer on that one. That was a dunk city a little bit.
Yeah, Wellesley didn't really go for the frame.
Oof. I hate seeing that because you're like, was that a way worse pitch than I think it was? Oh, no confidence at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't really give you a sense of where the bottom is. You're like, damn, that was way down. All right, so then he goes 2-0, full take here. And then it looks like they run into it. Looks like they go another sinker here. Yeah. Oh, no, this time it's a 4. All right, let's see it. Man, it's like he was anticipating it.
Yeah, that didn't look like it. It flattened out a little bit and just ran.
Yeah, 16 and 8. The sinkers had been 5 and 15, so there's difference there, and it doesn't get to the top by any means, but I actually think I'm just going to credit Vlad. I mean, he's just on time. It is 3 pitches about the same speed in a row, so that's one thing that led him to this, but...
Yeah, that didn't look like sellout or identification, man. It's just like, he's like, I'm going to take this swing and see what happens, which is when guys are going good, man. It's
just on time, man. Very comfortably.
Oh, yeah. Just kept hands back, too. Didn't leak early. Wasn't sold out for fastball. This looked like it was like I'm going to let the barrel hit it wherever it's pitched. Swing. Dialed.
Yeah, super dialed. All right, so where are you at with this series? You think it's a wrap, or you think Yankees have a puncher's shot in this one?
I mean, whenever you go to Yankee Stadium, like there's always a chance of I would say Yankees get it going, but even more likely the other team melts down for a game, right? Or like gets too excited, and if the Yankees come out and just like pummel them back, like that momentum shift could be the difference maker. That said, I just think the way the Blue Jays play, they put the ball in play, they don't strike out a bunch.
Matches up well.
Change.
Yeah,
that doesn't just change. It just comes down to how their pitching handle it. Like if it's a close game, we don't want like Hoffman to struggle a little bit or something. Like have one of those games where you're winning and then they come back. Like if you can avoid that, Blue Jays, I think they could pull off the sweep. But,
yeah, I guess the path to it would be, you got Rodon going Game 3, you got Schlittler going Game 4, and then anything can happen into Game 5. But yeah, certainly. The Blue Jays are feeling good, waking up in their beds today in New York City for sure, up to it.
23 runs in 2 games in a playoff series against the Yankees. Yeah, they're probably feeling pretty good. Hey, this whole scrimmage thing in the 5-day break seems like a really good idea.
It actually
Brewers
worked.
Scored 9. Yeah, Brewers scored 9 with only 2 extra base hits.
Yeah,
and they were both doubles. They didn't hit a homer, and they scored 9 runs. Like, when's the last time we saw that in a playoff game?
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. These teams that didn't play, they're going to be a little slow out of the gate, and it went completely opposite way. The Brewers scored 7 in the first inning, 6 in the first inning, and just rolled. So maybe teams are getting better.
They only scored 3, but the Phillies they didn't look sluggish. They were putting good swings on, and then Ohtani just got going a little bit. Like Shohei Ohtani, I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes the guy's just really good.
All right, I know you got to leave in 3 or 4 minutes, so just quickly, thoughts on Dodgers Phillies tonight. This is a big game for the Phillies. Snell versus Luzardo. Luzardo, I guess the big key is try not to get in the stretch where you've been basically turning the other team into Barry Bonds, right? Just try to mow them down one at a time. I bet you there'll be a quick hook in this game as well, so we'll see.
Which is crazy for guys 13-5 with a 2.5. It's what version of Luzardo are we going to see? And is Blake Snell? They're gonna have to get him to give some free passes early in the game to get to him, because if he's not walking guys, like, you're just not gonna string a bunch of hits against him. You're just not.
I do think Luzardo's the key to this game overall. There was a little bit of stuff in this notes packet I got this morning. He's turned to the sweeper more this year. He's throwing even more of them down the stretch. It's filthy. It's been great. His splits have been a little interesting. As the season's going on, his arm angle has dropped even lower and lower, making the sinker a little better and the four-seam play up a little different because of a lower arm angle. You can see here's the 3 arm angles. It's gotten a little lower as time has gone on, and I think this has actually helped him a little bit. His best season His previous best season came with a little bit of lower angle. He talked about raising it up a little bit to play into more of a 4-seam backspin. That kind of backfired. But my whole thing with him is there's clearly something going on with runners on base because his OPS splits with runners on base are insane. But his pitches are great, and they need a great start out of him. Otherwise, they're probably playing from behind in this game. That's a tough spot to be now that the Dodgers have all of a sudden some new relievers out there. The Glasnows and the Sheehans and the Rokies of the world.
Luck. The tap is interesting. That I think that's what he tips. Like he's worried about how far he's tapping out of the glove because that he spikes the sweeper and he doesn't do that with any other pitch. So you can see the knuckle really early sometimes. And like the game where he was tipping it to I think the Yankees got or the Red Sox or somebody got him. He was tapping like it was egregious, and he kept looking back like I know they see it, and I can't fix this right now. So I like the one on the right that he's getting closer and closer and closer to what Scooble does. Because Scooble goes straight up and down and puts in. We're seeing more and more guys do that.
Yeah, and they do the move too, where they preset the glove and then they like bring the hand in before doing any movements with the pitches. Like this is full.
I had to do that. I had to do that one year where I did the Pelfrey. Mike Pelfrey used to do it where he used to pin his glove because he tipped like crazy. Because we're big, dumb, goofy dudes who can't stop doing our little quirky stuff that's very obvious because we're not that athletic. So he's like puts his glove there and then just brings the glove, just pins it, like traps it, and the glove never moves or opens or whatever. I had to do that twice actually in my career in different ways. But like it's just hard. Who else tried to do it? Helsley tried to do it, and he's like, dude, this feels. He started to get it towards the end and start throwing in a bed, but he's like, dude, this feels. Because he was so like way out there. That's so much different to do just one day because it changes where you're breaking your hands and stuff. So it doesn't usually work, but it'll be interesting to see how conscious of that he is because I think he knows that that's.
Oh, he definitely knows. I mean, bases empty, 320. Bases empty, 213 opposing average this year, 326 with guys on base. He's basically completely different pitcher, guys on base versus not on base. So they've taken big measures. I mean, this is the way he's moved the glove. I think there was something with his tongue earlier in the year that he was doing, and they had him go to a mouthpiece. It's unbelievable now with the cameras on you, all the stuff that they're picking up. But that'll be fascinating to watch because the tipping, if they have something on you, they're going to use it tonight. So we'll see.
Oh my God, yeah, the Dodgers. If there's anything, they know what it is, man. But I also love the arm slot lower that you showed.
Yes,
even with those, even with those releases. Like, look at his torso tilt, how like upright he is.
Yeah,
like that also helps you command the ball a little bit better. And guys are throwing because Skeens did this, Crochet did this. They all dropped their arms a lot this year, about 8 degrees, and they're all throwing. Their average velocities were much more consistent. And but he's always had a good sinker.
Yeah,
and change it. We know he has the horizontal, and now he's something that's horizontal the other way, like really good. So he's like, okay, east to west again. Maybe that's my natural thing. And if I get my slot a little bit lower, that'll also let my not so good run four-seam fastball play better, even if it's not moving great.
Here's the quote. I was trying to improve my four-seam a little bit, get a little bit more ride with it. Understanding the higher slot kind of creates more carry. From a lower slot, throwing a sweeper now, it just made more sense to drop back down a little more normal, take some pressure off my arm, and the lower slot gets me to go a little more east-west, gives me a little more of an angle, especially to lefties, and maybe a little more crossfire on righties. So everything you're saying is exactly how it's gone. And so I think he's the biggest factor in that game tonight. Yeah, if Luzardo shows up, the Phillies got a good shot. Now, I know you have to go, but can we really quick get our
minutes?
Can we really quick, because there's been a lot of questions in the chat. Let's just talk Mets for 2 seconds. They just fired all the coaches, so they let go of some of our guys, including Hef, right? I think Hef's a great pitching coach. I don't think any of this was his fault. I feel like, at the end of the day, he tries to meet you where you are as a pitcher, and sometimes that just didn't work this year. They had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of moving parts. They literally used the most pitchers, I think, in the history of the game this year in a season for one team. That's a lot of people to juggle. But just any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on Hef getting let go finally? He survived about 4 managers up until this point.
Yeah, I think the consensus of the front, like the executive level, man, is that he is doing a really good job, and unfortunately that isn't enough. Sometimes you just have to, we feel like he's doing a good job, so maybe our philosophy isn't the thing that's working as well, so that is something we need to change up a little bit. And these guys are just get somebody's got to go because it needs to feel different, and that's the sad part about it. But that's the way, like we have, Bob Melvin getting, like, is he the problem? No. Is Bruce Bochy the problem? No. Is Rocco Baldelli the problem? No, probably not. It's just like things didn't go as well as they should have, and someone has to take the fall. And that's kind of part of the job description. That said, dude, someone's gonna get one of the better ones.
Yeah, they are. I'm wondering what
they are.
I'm wondering what the future is for him. I talked a little bit with him last year. The family's from Oklahoma. Maybe there's some desire to take a job a little closer to home, maybe even a college job. Work less, get paid more, that type of thing. Which is crazy in our industry that the college coaches get paid so much better than the pro coaches. So there's that a little bit. But
we had a guy leave in the middle of the season for college. Wes Johnson did it in the middle of, was it 22?
First place team too.
He's like, you know what? I'll respect it. If you have the confidence to make a decision like that, right, and just be like, this is what I need for my family, whatever. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna. People will be like, come on, man. But then they'll be like, all right, well, we like you, so. But yeah, I think these guys are all like Luis Mendoza is he's a major league manager. He does a good job. I think they made. I just don't think it was decision making, man. I just think it was a lot of bad luck. You got 1,000 pitchers that you're using, you're really relying on a ton of rookies.
And they were the best pitching staff in the first half in the year, so there was good things happening.
Yeah, and then they're like, we'll get Manaea back in the first month. It takes 4 months. Montas, non-existent. Like some of the guys they remember they signed Severino, Manaea. Those two came back 2 years ago, and they were like, oh, we've optimized these guys. They stayed healthy. The next year, they didn't get that magic. They didn't get, because they don't have the young guy they're going to be their stud in the future yet. That's one thing they're hoping that. Well, now McLean probably is that guy, but they have a couple guys who could be the next crop of pitchers, and I think it was just like not quite timed right. That said, do I think next, like, there's no reason to not think they could win 100 games easy next year. Like, there's no reason to think that they couldn't do that.
I agree. I just think they got a little overconfident with their ability to kind of improve pitching and create a pitcher on the fly. They went for a lot of these, depth type signings, and then they made some mid-level signings that they felt like they could optimize or keep guys healthy, and all that kind of fell back in their faces a little bit, and ended up kind of costing them. So I think they'll make some adjustments and they'll move forward fine. But I just wanted to touch on Hef a little bit because I know we both love him, and hopefully, he'll land on his feet in a really good spot. So let's just really quick. I know you're about to go. What's your thoughts on this second game tonight? This is a weird timing. Cubs Brewers, they have the night game tonight because Dodgers have to fly back West Coast. So we are looking at Cubs Brewers. It's going to be interesting because Quinn Priester's starting for the Brewers, and they're using an opener for the first time in a long time. And actually, his statistics have been not so good when they have used an opener. He's been much better when he just goes straight out. They're using Ashby to start off this game today. Going to be interesting to see if Imanaga shows up big. Cubs need this game.
Yeah, they really do need the game. And that's Imanaga is going to be interesting. I would pay attention to if he is using what I've seen recently from him, because he's got a home run problem big time. He always is going to. Like, it's just going to be something. It's like keeping around league average is what he's looking for, and he's nowhere close to that. I think the thing that unlocks that is him using his sweeper a little bit more, because he relies on the splitter because it's his best pitch. But like, you can't be a 2-pitch pitcher as a starter and have to throw hard. So like, those are two problems. And these guys have seen it so much, and they don't strike out. So it's just not a good matchup for him. But Cubs got a really good offense. They're just gonna have to outscore, count on outscoring them. And but I'm not gonna count the Cubs out because they have a really, really good lineup. The young guys are good. The vets have been raking. If Kyle Tucker gets going a little bit, I could see this quickly being like a 7-8 run outpour from the Cubs, and they win like 8-5 or 8-4 or something.
Yeah, and they have Suzuki, who's been red hot lately, which helps.
Oh yeah, and he, I don't know if Suzuki's maybe he does move up to the 3-hole or something to face Ashby. Not that you want to. The guy throws 99 lefty, but he does rake lefties. So like, it'll be interesting to see how that changes what Council does, because it's been top has been lefty heavy. So I think that's the goal, right? Get him shuffled up.
Yeah.
I had this being like a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the whole time, like it was all season. 7-6, Cubs won it this year, and I think they literally almost went. Like nobody really won two games in a row.
Yeah.
So because they're very closely matched and they're very different styles, but they're great defensively, solid pitching. I'd give Brewers better pitching, but Cubs have been much better than we would think. And then it just comes down to like what type of offense are we going to see that day? Is it the 3 solo homers for the Cubs like we saw last time, or is it the 11 hits scoring 9 runs, 9 of which are all singles like for the Brewers? Those are the difference. And I think that maybe it's with Priester and with the opener. I'm just going to say the Cubs are gonna get a little more timely hitting, and they'll take this one. So it'll go 1-1 into Chicago. So I think.
All right, I like that. Imanaga did have their last win that they got at American Family Field on July 30th. 5 innings, 3 runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Obviously, Milwaukee's seen him a lot, but if he can keep the ball in the yard, which usually is actually pretty easy to do against the Brewers, they're not a big power club, and just keep their rally offense down. This Brewers team feels a lot like the early 2010 San Francisco Giants to me, where it's like you open the door a crack and they all come through it. If you just keep getting that leadoff hitter out, you're probably going to be fine. But they tend to rally really well. So this should be a fun pair of games tonight.
Yep. Excited to watch it. I actually get some time too. So
yeah, great. I know you've been so busy, but all right. Well, this has been awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. Big appreciate to you, everybody in the chat. You guys know him, Trevor May. Follow him on everything. He's on literally everything social. I am Trevor May. YouTube, probably Twitch. I don't even know, but you're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, Substack,
TikTok. I'm Trevor May, just on everything. It'll come up. It'll come up.
All right, perfect.
And I do my show Mayday.
Yes, shout out Mayday.
This is supposed to be backwards, if anyone's wondering. But that's my show on Wednesdays on Foul Territory at noon Eastern to 2. I switch it over to my channel, Trevor May Baseball. So subscribe to both those. I'll probably be popping in, and we're going to be doing very similar stuff to this. I love this, dude. I love this. I'll come on whenever you want. This is the type of stuff that we need.
Yeah, this was fun, man. I really appreciate you. You're the best. You're the absolute best. Have a great day, buddy.
You too, man. Talk to you.
See you later. All right, we are back to the normal program now. Let me just make sure I can get rid of my my information over here, which is being a little weird. Give me a sec. Let me just hang up that call. Okay. All right, thank you guys. Big thanks for Trevor. He was awesome. He came on. Chat was electric. I wish I could have had the chat messages on screen. That was one of the things I was struggling with right before, and I just didn't figure it out fast enough. I had it going great the other day. My links weren't working the same, but we'll get it figured out for Baseball After Dark, and hopefully I'll be flowing from then on. So let's just look at a couple of these last game notes before we wrap it up. I'm going to be here for another 15. And that's about it. Here are the game notes for the games today that are very important. Obviously, we got to get some information. The brothers Hernandez, for the second consecutive year, the Dodgers won Game 1 of the NLDS after overcoming a 3-0 deficit. Senor October, they're calling him now. Kike delivered a 2-run double. I said when we watched it, I didn't like Sanchez's approach to Kike. He's dead pull. You got to keep him going to the opposite side of the field. They played it right into a swing. It kind of led to a big inning. Teoscar did the opposite of that. Stayed through a fastball that Matt Strom went up and away with. 3-run homer. So it'll be interesting to see if they make any strategy choice changes against some of these guys with Luzardo today. You got a left on right once again. The same way Strom was, same way Sanchez was. So we'll see if they switch up any of their strategies. Mr. Kike, my buddy, he's got a career 881 OPS in the postseason, which is 174 points higher than his career 707 regular season OPS. And the only other player who's matched that difference in their career was Carlos Beltran. He actually had 184 points higher in the postseason. Blake Snell, the starter for the Dodgers, he beat the Reds in Game 1. He gave up 2 runs, struck out 9 over 7 innings. He is now 5-3, 3.23 in his career of postseason games, 13 games, 11 starts. And he also beat the Phillies on September 17th in LA. It was his best start in a Dodger uniform. He threw 7 scoreless, allowing just 2 hits, striking out 12. We watched that. We watched quite a bit of that game. Now, wait, hold on. Sorry about that. What did I say the date was on that? God dang it. This thing always goes back to the top. That was September 17th. Curious to watch that really quick. Dodgers, Phillies. And it was the same matchup, actually. Snell, Luzardo. Yeah, I think we watched a lot of this start.
Comes home with a 1-2 pitch and strikes out Schwarber.
Just a really hard guy to hit when he's on, making you chase a lot in the dirt. He actually has a similar effect to Yesavage with his breaking stuff, in that he also has a high release. And so, like on this curveball, there's not really any hump. You see that? I've been talking about it a lot with Snell, but that's a big part of what he does out there. That's a big part of what you're going to see. So this was on 9/17. Just go to the player breakdown on this really quick, just to see what the pitch mix was for both of these guys, because this is a rematch. This game already happened. So the first time through, Luzardo went 44% sweeper as his #1 pitch to the Dodgers that game. 27% four-seam, 19% changeup, and then threw very little sinker or slider. So it would be a big change if he goes more to sinker and more to slider. He has been more heavy on the sinker towards the very end, so we'll see if there's any switch up in Luzardo's game plan. And then on the other side, Snell, 34% four-seam, 29% curveball, 20% changeup, 17% slider. So I expect that to stay the same. It's kind of a equal approach on everything. And the big key with Snell, as always, is make sure you're not swinging at balls. Make sure you're getting into advantage counts if you're the team that's hitting against him. Because ahead in the count, I think he's one of the best pitchers in the world that's ever existed. So, yeah, I really think that's the key. Just get yourself in good counts, make good swing decisions early in the count if you're the Phillies, and hope to get yourself in better counts and make Snell nibble a little bit. As he's trying to come back in, maybe you draw some walks. That's kind of the hope with that matchup. What else we got about this game? Luzardo, 0-2, 7-7-1 in his 3 career postseason starts. One was with Oakland, and then he also had one with Miami. He was actually against the Phillies, which he's now on the Phillies. So I think you can throw those out. And his last 11, he was dominant, 7-2, 2.84. Again, the big key with Luzardo, though, is him rolling and not having to go in the stretch too much. He's been really, really, really much different pitcher from the windup and the stretch. Phillies lost in Game 1, brought back some painful memories for the Phillies fans because of the pen. The pen is now 1-3, 10.69 ERA in the postseason over the last 2 years. You would think that would be a lot better now with Duran out there, Robertson back in the fold, but that is yet to show up, so maybe that shows up today. Will Smith could make his first start today behind the plate since September 9th. He replaced Rortvedt on Saturday, so he got in the game, so he's healthy enough to play. He could be a factor. And then on the Philly side, Bader left with a weird hamstring, groin. It was reported 2 different ways. So he went under imaging. It seems like he's okay. I doubt he starts, but I think he might be available. That's actually a big deal because they are facing the lefty and Snell, and Marsh is going to be in big trouble. He only hit 197, 287, 289 versus lefties. So that's not a great matchup for him versus Snell. And Bader's been an offensive force this year, so they would have liked to have him in the lineup. We'll see how that goes. And then the Dodgers, they tipped their hand big time on how they're going to pitch this playoffs when they have the lead. Vesia, Glasnow, and Sasaki were the 3 relievers that they deployed in this game. There's no Trinan, no Kirby Yates, etc., etc. So this is probably their formula that they want to go with, at least from the time being. In tonight's game, let's get into the notes a little bit. Cubs and Brewers to make sure we know what we're talking about. Jackson Chourio also left the game with hamstring tightness. This is a big deal. He's their best player by far in my mind. Obviously, there's Yelich and others, but Chourio's the dynamic player that you can't really stop because he can affect the game with his legs and also his bat, and he uses the whole field. He kind of has the see the ball, hit the ball approach that's really hard to pitch to. So that could be a big loss for the Brewers. We'll see how that plays out. Blake Perkins. Collins replaced him in Game 1, but it could be Blake Perkins as well. So those are the replacements. Obviously, those are solid players, but they're not Jackson Chourio. Brewer ball. Only the Pirates, who scored the fewest runs in MLB this season, scored a lower percentage of their runs via home run, 32.2%, than the Brewers, 32.6%. The Brewers did it with 13 hits and no homers in Game 1. This is the type of thing that my father and my grandfather and all the older fans in our life clamor for. The singles approach. You don't always have to swing for the fences. This has often been thought by analysts to be a bad approach this time of year because it's hard to string hits together. The Brewers are putting that theory to the test big time, and we'll see how long their approach works out. They also have some pop in their game. It's not like Andrew Vaughn doesn't exist, and they've hit plenty of home runs, but their approach is a little different than other teams. The Cubs are going to try to beat you with the long ball, and the Brewers are not. So we've been talking about the contrast in styles all year between these two teams, and will continue to play out today. Speaking of homers, no one's allowed more homers than Imanaga since the All-Star break, 21, including the postseason. He's allowed multiple home runs, and I think 5 of his last 6 starts, so that's something to watch out for. In a way, I kind of like it for the Cubs because he's going against a team that doesn't hit a lot of them, so it kind of counteracts his biggest weakness with their biggest weakness in a way. Like, it's not their biggest strength, so you go ahead and attack it, top of the zone and force them to play a game that they're not used to playing. It'll be very curious to see how that plays out. Now, I know I mentioned Priester earlier, but Pat Murphy's playing coy with that. He's saying he's really not sure who they're going to go to after Ashby to start up this game. But I would expect Quinn to get quite a bit of the bulk. They're going to need somebody to throw bulk innings here. I could see it Tobias Myers. But more than likely it would be Quinn Priester, who was my catch partner a little bit in spring training this year with the Red Sox. That he would have been a nice guy for the Sox to have down the stretch. But that's baseball. You go somewhere, something clicks, and here we go. Prior to his last loss versus the Reds on September 26th, the Brewers had won each of Priester's previous 19 appearances. So you could look at that two ways. He's due for some bad luck and to have the team lose some games that he participates in, or there's some good mojo when he is actually out there. He also grew up as a Cubs fan. He's from Chicago, so there's a little extra mojo in this game. And in general, there's a lot of mojo in this series due to the fact that these cities are very close together, Milwaukee and the Cubs, and they are kind of mortal enemies in a lot of ways. Michael Busch has homered in back-to-back games for the Cubbies. He's got an .849 slugging with 10 homers and 16 RBIs over his last 21 games, which is absurd. So this guy's on fire. He's on fire. Suzuki's on fire. PCA is showing some signs of getting himself back in track, and those are the main things we have to watch for tonight. The Brewers are trying to get that 2-0 lead before going back to Wrigley, and if the Cubs can win one today, they're going to feel really good about themselves. But that's why I think both of these games are must-wins for the teams that are down in the series. Both the Phillies as well as the Cubs are looking to have big performances tonight, and I don't think there's any other way around that. They need to rally, they need to win, and need to play clean baseball and get back home with a chance to finish out the series at home. Otherwise, it's going to be an uphill battle, kind of in the spot where the Yankees are right now. So we will see. This should be a fun day of baseball. Only 2 games. They're kind of going to go back and forth for a little bit until there's 4 all again on the same night. But that's fine. Gives us a little more ability to get our head wrapped around a smaller slate than all 4, especially when you're getting so granular into the details here in the playoffs. All right, we got so much in the chat. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get a lot of this on screen, so I'm going to try to look through here a little bit, and see if there's anything good here. Michael Hafling, who sent this super chat, well, very nice of you. The Warren at bat, you could tell Vladdy was feeling it. He was shaking and shimmying between pitches to the stadium PA. It's a great place to be. I've been like that out on the mound when like the walk-up songs come, but you're just so in the zone that you're almost using it to feed your own rhythm, your own energy. And Vlad's clearly feeling it. And if the Yankees don't figure him out and start getting him out, they're in deep, deep doo-doo in this series. What else we got here? Do you think the Jays had something on Fried or Warren? John Boy alluded to it, or maybe that's just loser talk. I mean, it could be because it seems to be a factor with every pitcher right now. These teams are doing such a good job getting the tipping. There's a really good article in The Athletic you should go check out that talks about this tipping situation a little bit. And kind of where we're at in the current state of preparing for the teams preparing for each other. But I didn't see much. I just saw a guy who hadn't pitched in a really long time and kind of walked into a wolf den situation with a team that's locked in at the plate with a big lead, and they could kind of swing freely and play loose, and they played super loose, and they kind of were able to kind of run out front. And that's also part of the reason why Will Warren didn't start, instead of Luis Gil in Game 1, is because he got kind of crushed by the Blue Jays already. So they have his number and they've seen him this year. And sometimes it takes a whole calendar year for you to be able to flip that switch. You can't just do it so fast. That's a good comment by Legacy59. Jays have done well against Fried and Warren all year. So that just continued. I do think overexposure is such a real thing. We saw that play in the opposite fashion with Yesavage. And clearly Schlittler as well versus the Red Sox. So this time of year, if you can have an electric guy that nobody's seen, all the better. Because the preparation is supposed to tick up a little bit at this time of year, like getting in the details about how you're going to attack somebody. But if you have less information, then you're less prepared than the other team will be against your pitcher. So all this stuff kind of plays in. Spectre, as you proceed into the game during the playoffs, how much do you learn about their approach and how much info do you keep in your back pocket for the inevitable time that you're facing them again? So a lot of times this comes down to what type of leeway you have in the standings. The majority of the time, these teams have to do whatever it takes to get in, so you're not holding anything back. You're pitching as good as you can. You're getting every out you can. You're not holding anything back. You're just trying to get yourself in, and then you'll figure it out later. Occasionally, you do front run enough in a game where you're way ahead and you can kind of go out there and just throw all fastballs, not give them any information. But it's a fine line to thread, and it's also your ERA on the line, and a lot of people don't want to make that trade-off, potentially getting clipped for a couple earned runs, screwing up their ERA to win the battle later. That would be more of a veteran approach that's seen that, maybe play out in a playoff. And also, one of those deals where maybe they don't care about their ERA as much because they're already getting, really nice direct deposits every 15 days. That doesn't really matter anymore with your ERA, so you can play that kind of long game. But most pitchers will definitely not do that. They don't want to ever give up a run ever, so it doesn't really play in. This is a really nice comment from Anaralda. I don't want to read it, but really nice comment about the show and everything we're doing here. And I have to say, really big thanks to everybody who's watched all my videos and have been tuning in for these live streams. The chat's been electric. Once I can get the chat's messages back up, I should have them on for tonight's Baseball After Dark. Then, this is a much more interactive experience, and I thought we were trending that way. But my fault on that. I screwed it up this morning, and we'll be better. But I really appreciate everybody that's been watching all of the content I've been making, and all the ability to jump into these games. I think is really fun. And it's different. I'm used to be playing right now or be sulking because my season's over and just sitting on the couch and watching bits and pieces of game. But now with this community, I'm so, emboldened to really watch everything and dive in and learn more and more and more, and try to bring as much of my knowledge and other people's knowledge, like Trevor, who joined us today, to the fold, and kind of help everybody out. So this was an awesome day. Awesome chat. I'm going to say goodbye. I got to go run some errands. But I'll see you guys tonight on Baseball After Dark. If anybody's interested, we'll be looking at both of these games, Cubs, Brewers, which will be live by the time I come on. And then the Phillies-Dodger game will be over, so we'll have all that breakdown. And you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Big thanks to Trevor May. Go follow him on every social channel possible. I am Trevor May on everything. And we'll make sure to have him back in the later rounds. And I'm working on more and more guests as we keep going, because they seem to be really bringing a lot to the show. So thanks so much for watching me, and I'll see you guys tonight on Baseball After Dark if you guys are there. All right, have a great day. Peace out, guys.